Did you know that millions of people around the world struggle with anxiety every single day? It's true, and many don't even realize it. Think about it. Have you ever found yourself pacing back and forth, unable to turn off your thoughts? Or maybe you've canceled plans at the last minute, feeling a wave of dread wash over you? These seemingly small behaviors could actually be signs of underlying anxiety. In this video, we're going to explore 13 common things people do because of anxiety, often without even knowing it. Okay, let's start with a big one: overthinking. We all do it sometimes. It's natural to replay past conversations or stress about future events, but for someone with anxiety, overthinking becomes a relentless cycle, a hamster wheel of what-ifs and worst-case scenarios. Imagine this. You send an email and immediately start worrying if you sounded professional enough, if you used the right tone, if you forgot to attach a file. This kind of overthinking can be exhausting and can seriously impact your daily life, making it difficult to focus on anything else. The key here is to recognize when you're stuck in this cycle and find ways to break free. Have you ever found yourself making excuses to get out of social gatherings? Maybe you suddenly remember a prior commitment or develop a mysterious headache. This, my friends, is the anxiety dodge in action. Social situations can be a breeding ground for anxiety. Large crowds, unfamiliar faces, it can all feel overwhelming. So, what do? We avoid. When anxiety takes hold, it can whisper doubts in your ear, making you question everything from your abilities to your relationships. This often leads to a constant need for reassurance, a way of silencing those nagging voices of self-doubt. Think about it. You're working on a project and find yourself constantly asking your colleagues for feedback, even when you know you're on the right track. While seeking support from loved ones is healthy, needing constant reassurance can be a sign that you're struggling to manage your anxiety. The real work comes from building your own self-confidence and learning to trust your own judgment. Decision fatigue. When anxiety makes you freeze. We make countless decisions every day, from what to wear to what to eat for lunch. But for someone with anxiety, even the smallest choices can feel monumental, sending them into a spiral of overthinking and indecisiveness. Picture this. You're staring at a menu, completely overwhelmed by the options. Suddenly, ordering a simple salad feels as daunting as solving a complex math equation. This is what we call decision fatigue, and it's a common symptom of anxiety. The fear of making a mistake, of facing potential negative consequences, can be paralyzing. Start by simplifying your choices, and don't be afraid to ask for help when you need it. Procrastination station, all aboard the anxiety train. We've all been there, that looming deadline, that project we've been putting off. But for someone with anxiety, procrastination isn't just laziness, it's a coping mechanism, a way of delaying the discomfort and fear associated with a particular task. Think about it. You have a big presentation coming up, but instead of preparing, you find yourself cleaning your entire apartment, organizing your sock drawer, doing literally anything to avoid facing the task at hand. This avoidance might provide temporary relief, but it ultimately leads to increased anxiety and stress as the deadline approaches. The key here is to break down the task into smaller, more manageable steps. Anxiety's physical toll. Headaches, stomach aches, and more. Anxiety isn't just a mental game. It can also manifest in very real physical ways. Our bodies are incredible machines, constantly responding to our thoughts and emotions. When we experience anxiety, our bodies go into fight or flight mode, releasing hormones like adrenaline and cortisol. While this response is designed to protect us from danger, when it's constantly activated, it can wreak havoc on our physical health. We might experience headaches, stomach aches, muscle tension, fatigue, insomnia. The list goes on. These physical symptoms can be incredibly frustrating and often lead to more worry and anxiety, creating a vicious cycle. The overplanning paradox: how anxiety can derail your best intentions. We all love a good plan, right? But for someone with anxiety, planning can become an obsession, a way of trying to control the uncontrollable and prevent any potential mishaps. Imagine this. You're planning a simple weekend getaway, but you find yourself creating detailed itineraries, researching every possible restaurant and activity, making backup plans for your backup plans. While planning can be helpful, over-planning can actually backfire, leading to increased anxiety and disappointment when things inevitably don't go exactly as planned. It can also prevent you from being present and enjoying the moment because you're so busy worrying about what's next. The key is to find a balance between planning and flexibility. Tossing and turning. When anxiety keeps you up at night, remember lying awake, your mind racing with thoughts? Yeah, that's anxiety's favorite pastime. Nighttime is when anxiety throws a party, making sleep impossible. A relaxing bedtime routine can signal your body to wind down. Try journaling or mindfulness to quiet your thoughts. The inner critic, anxiety's masterpiece. We all have that little voice inside our heads, the one that comments on our every move. But for someone with anxiety, that voice can be particularly harsh and unforgiving. It's like having a constant stream of negative self-talk playing on repeat, chipping away at your self-esteem. You make a small mistake, and your inner critic pounces, magnifying it, making you feel like a complete failure. This constant self-criticism can be incredibly damaging, leading to self-doubt, low self-worth, and even depression. Challenge those negative thoughts, reframe them in a more positive light, and practice self-compassion. Eye contact. It's a fundamental part of human interaction, a way of connecting with others and building rapport. But for someone with anxiety, making eye contact can feel incredibly uncomfortable and overwhelming. Imagine this: you're having a conversation, and suddenly you become acutely aware of the other person's gaze. Your heart starts racing, your palms sweat, and you find yourself looking anywhere but their eyes, their forehead, their shoes, a random point on the wall. This avoidance of eye contact is often an unconscious response to feeling anxious or uncomfortable. However, it can also make us appear disinterested or untrustworthy, hindering our ability to build meaningful connections. Gradually challenge yourself to make eye contact for longer periods, focusing on the other person's words and expressions. When anxiety strikes, it often manifests in physical ways, leading to a range of nervous habits and fidgeting. These habits, often subconscious, are our body's way of releasing pent-up tension and trying to self-soothe. Think about it. You're waiting for an important phone call and you find yourself biting your nails, twirling your hair, tapping your foot incessantly. While these habits might provide temporary relief, they can also become sources of embarrassment or frustration. Experiment with stress balls, fidget toys, deep breathing exercises, or even just taking a few moments to step away from a stressful situation. Ever feel like your brain is running on fumes, unable to concentrate on even the simplest of tasks? Yeah, that's anxiety messing with your mental clarity. When we're anxious, our minds are often consumed with worries and fears, making it incredibly difficult to focus on the present moment. Imagine this: you're trying to read a book, but you find yourself rereading the same paragraph over and over again, the words blurring together. This lack of focus can be incredibly frustrating and can impact our productivity, relationships, and overall well-being. Practice mindfulness techniques, engage in activities that bring you joy, and create a calm and clutter-free environment to help improve your focus. The future. It's a vast and unknown landscape, full of possibilities and uncertainties. And for someone with anxiety, it can be a breeding ground for worry and fear. Our minds become time machines, catapulting us into the future, where we replay worst-case scenarios and imagine all the things that could go wrong. This excessive worrying about the future can be debilitating, robbing us of the joy of the present moment and preventing us from taking risks and pursuing our goals. Focus on the present moment, practice gratitude for what you have, and remind yourself that you are strong, capable, and resilient. So, there you have it. 13 common things people do because of anxiety, often without even realizing it. From overthinking and avoidance to physical symptoms and nervous habits, anxiety can manifest in countless ways, impacting our thoughts, feelings, and behaviors. By becoming aware of these behaviors and understanding the role anxiety might be playing in our lives, we can start to take steps towards managing it and living fuller, more fulfilling lives. Share your experiences in the comments below, and for more tips on managing anxiety, be sure to check out our next video, where we'll dive into practical strategies for calming your mind and reclaiming your peace.